Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin. Wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Praise be to Allah, the Lord of the worlds. Peace and blessings are upon our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his companions, and for those who followed his example till the judgment day. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala barakatuh. Dear respected brothers and sisters, welcome everyone to Webinar 2 presented by the Global Islamic Parenting Network, or GIPNet for short. Our topic today is When School and Home Don't Talk. From Blame to Barakah, Rebuilding the Parent-Teacher Connection. I'm privileged and honored to welcome our guest speakers today. First, let me introduce Brother Edris Khamissa, all the way from South Africa. Brother Edris Khamissa is an international consultant in education and human development. He is a parenting expert and marriage counselor and conducts workshops on these topics. We have also with us Sister Lubna Moazzam, all the way from Pakistan. Welcome, Sister Lubna. Sister Lubna is an O-level chemistry teacher, one of my favorite subjects at school. With more than 25 years experience, a parent counselor and youth mentor, a community educator based in Pakistan. Thank you so much, Brother Edris and Sister Lubna, for joining us today. The title of our webinar today is When Schools and Home Don't Talk, From Blame to Barakah, Rebuilding the Parent-Teacher Connection. Our webinar today focuses on why, despite so many channels, WhatsApp groups, emails, portals, and scheduled meetings, many parents and schools still feel unheard, misunderstood, or even mistrustful of one another. A lot of conversations seem to happen, but connection doesn't. This webinar invites parents, educators, and school leaders to pause and reflect on a difficult but important question. What is really happening when school and home stop talking meaningfully, and who pays the price for it? And by the way, brothers and sisters, I've just been reminded by someone in the audience, none other than my other half, Brother Ahmad Fakri Hamza, that I need to introduce myself. I'm Jamilah Samian, a parenting author and a parenting speaker based in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. As well, I have to mention that Brother Ahmad Fakri is also with us today, and he will be helping us with the technical aspects, requesting your cooperation to respond to the survey so that we can understand your needs better. So in short, brothers and sisters, what we hope to obtain from this session is both the school perspective and the parenting perspective, not to point fingers, but to surface blind spots, unspoken expectations, and emotional realities on both sides, home and school. And at the center of this conversation is the child, whom is quite often caught quietly in the middle of adult misunderstandings. So brothers and sisters, we're not here for a fight. This is not a debate. It is a shared reflection, an honest dialogue, if you may, if you like, and a step towards rebuilding trust where it matters most. So I will be asking the questions, beginning with Brother Edris. Brother Edris, in one sentence, what is really happening when we say school and home don't talk? And why does this problem still exist despite technology and regular communication tools? And what is at stake for children if this disconnect continues? Over to you, brother.
Yeah, you see, this disconnect for many reasons. The one is there is a hiatus between the home and the school. And the school seems to be preoccupied with the cognitive and academic development of the child, and the parents at home feel they have no responsibility. And this widening gap has really created misunderstanding and mistrust. And also it's about having unreasonable expectations of each other. So I think that's the real reason.
Okay, so what I hear you saying is that there are unreasonable expectations from the parents, and the school teachers, they are really tied up and occupied with lots of things, with the academics, with the pressures from the school authorities to make sure that the kids perform, right, as per parents' expectations, as well as the school's management's expectations. What about Sister Lubna? What do you think? What is really happening? The same question to you. When we say school and home don't talk, what would be your perspective on this matter? And why do you think these problems still exist despite the technology and all manners of communication, which seems to open a floodgate of exchanges between the school and the home?
Where school and home don't talk. Somebody unmuted. Ji, Jazakallah, sister. Before we discuss this topic, as Brother Edris said, that schools are very busy in developing curriculums and other activities for the students. And it seems that there is no communication. And this, I would say that from when schools and home, they are not at the same pace, they do not talk. The child becomes the messenger and he becomes the mediator between the two. I would like to explain the situation, which you must have seen many of us. We recognize the situation when a teacher tells a child that you need to be more disciplined. The child goes home and hears your teacher is always picking on you. Now the child is confused. At school, the child feels I am the problem. At home, the child feels my teacher is unfair. No one helps the child make sense of these mixed messages. So the child quietly carries both feelings inside. So actually, it's deeply concerning because the children are amana. They're the trust, their responsibility. This is for us on adults. So children are not responsible for managing adults' disagreements. When adults fail to communicate, the child bears a burden they never meant to carry. That there's a lot of, we have a lot of gadgets, a lot of apps, so much communication, so much technology. But actually, when we say that school and home, they do not talk, it's when these two adults who are responsible for the child, the burden goes to the child. This is what I understand, that what is actually happening. School is busy, parents are busy, both are busy for the child, and actually the burden is carried by the child himself.
Thank you for that. Yes, brother.
Jamilah.
Yes.
Added to what sister said, the whole idea, I think, should it remain like that? The whole idea is, as teachers, we are told in Latin, in loco parentis, that we have a role to play. We cannot, for example, have what you said at the beginning, a blame syndrome. At the same token, parents need to also participate vicariously in the lives of the children. They've got to show an interest in their scholastic development, in the holistic development. And that's something that parents do not participate in. And therefore you find, being a principal myself and a board member, you find that there's a lot of apathy and we begin to blame each other. And the children are caught up in this. These are innocent victims of a situation in which the school could play a far more effective role and the parents could have played their role also.
I see. So, just off the cuff, how bad is this problem? I mean, let's say we have 10 students, right, in a school. Brother Idris, from your experience, out of 10 parents, how many would have this kind of situation out of 10 students?
I would say, this might surprise you. I would say about 70% of the parents. 70%. And you know what? And I'm not here to chastise them or upbraid them. We are living in very, very challenging times economically, psychologically. Our homes are not coherent or cohesive enough. You find the parent is also under pressure. And you find that the child is completely lost. And sometimes he thrives in the situation, knowing full well that my father would come to school, and instead of him taking responsibility, he'd perhaps blame the school for my performances. And in terms of your question, I would say up to 70%, sadly.
Up to 70%. So that is based on our experience. What about in your experience, Sister Lubna? Is that would that be like a fair number, fair figure? 7 out of 10?
Yes, nowadays the distance between the schools and parents, it's increasing. It's as Brother Idris said that the economic pressures, the breakdown of social values, and the constant noise and confusion. We know that our social fabric is being damaged. And this is directly affecting our parenting, and this is affecting our children, our education system, everything. But again, the thing would go like as Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said that kullukum rai wa kullukum masul, that everyone is responsible. You and I, we are responsible. So in every situation, responsibility is unavoidable. This situation is increasing, no doubt. But you, like as brother gave the example of his father, that obviously in our times, they are very different. Like our parents' time, when they were raising us, the world was like a small pond. The water was clear. It was calmer. Family, relative, neighbors, the whole community was around. And if a child struggled, someone noticed, someone stepped in. Today, world really feels like a bottomless sea. Vast, it's turbulent, and the water is murky too. A child can drown silently and we may not even realize it. So our responsibility has multiplied, and we need to understand the need of all this discussion, that yes, this is increasing, this distance is increasing between the parent and the child school.
I see. So honestly, that makes me recall an experience that I had myself some years ago. I was in a WhatsApp group amongst parents and teachers. So this WhatsApp group was formed to facilitate communication between parents and teachers. Unfortunately, something happened, and one of the parents was really upset about it. And this parent vented their anger on the WhatsApp group. It was like a personal attack on the teacher. But alhamdulillah, the teacher kept her dignity and did not say anything. But what I realized upon reflection, it could have become a real problem between the parents and the school, right? So I think it would be good for us to just step back and remind ourselves, no matter how upset we are, even though there are lots of communication channels, just venting our anger on these channels is not going to help, right? So my next question, back to Brother Idris. Brother Idris, coming from the school perspective, what do you think is the biggest misconception parents have about teachers and schools today? I know that you have mentioned that parents expect the school to do this, do that. But if you could pinpoint some misconceptions and what these expectations, unreasonable expectations are, more specific expectations.
Yeah, I think, many parents sometimes erroneously regard teachers as just babysitters, and they have little or no idea about the professional workload of teachers. They do not fully understand what they go through because their child is only one child amongst many other children. And every child comes with three things to school: an IQ, with the baggage of values, and attitude, something that I constantly say. But the other critical aspect is this, and this is a very important thing. Whilst they may perceive it that particular way, I'm not suggesting that our primary concern must be the child, to make sure we mitigate against all of these factors. The notion parents have, and sometimes the demands are made by teachers. So I think that's a very, very important, that teachers should have a greater understanding of the gravitas of the teacher.
Brother Idris, back to this question about the school perspective, right? From your own experience, have you seen any kind of behaviors, any specific behaviors from parents that unintentionally damage a child's relationship with the school?
There are 1,000 examples, but I'll share one that comes to mind. I remember when I was a head teacher of one of the schools, and we used to do our consultation based on performance in the school hall, and I had my headmaster's desk there so that I could engage parents. They want to talk to me about any particular issues. So one father came to me there and loudly, he's screaming in the hall. He says, "No, Mr. Khamissa, I'm fed up, man. I'm fed up with your teachers." In front of his daughter, he's saying, "I'm fed up." I said, "Why are you fed up?" In my gentle, loving way that I am. Why? So he said, "Well, every teacher is saying that my child's attitude is not changing. And the last time I came, they said the same thing." So I said to the father, "You know what? I don't think it's right that you are screaming. Why didn't you come with me to the office upstairs and we'll talk about it?" He said, "I'm not coming to your office. I'm just fed up." Then I said, which is so unlike me, I said, "If you're fed up, do me a favor, take your child out of the school." I had to say that, you see. And when I said that, the father calmed down completely. And that's important, because what they do sometimes, to compensate for the lack of participation and intervention in the children, they do what you call emotional blackmail. To tell the child, "I may not come to school, but they cannot hassle you. I'll always be there for you."
I see. So sometimes what I hear you saying is sometimes you just have got to put your foot down. Keep your calm, stay calm, but put your foot down, right? Thanks for that, Brother Idris. Now, Sister Lubna, in your opinion, where does the parent-school expectation gap begins?
One thing which we cannot change currently, that are economic situations, the dire economic situation. So the parents are paying a hefty amount. So this is the reason they think as if they have bought the teachers, they have bought the school. So due to which I feel that there's a lot of expectations. And without being a parent myself, being in teaching, I have seen, I see the both sides. I understand that the parents, sometimes they have very undue expectations from the school for their children, when they are not playing their own part. And which Brother Idris pointed us as well, the harmony at home. They are not able to maintain structure, harmony, calm at their own home. This reflects in the school, and then they expect their child behavior that school should fix it. So these expectations are difficult to match, and that still, again, I would say that it has to be two parties, it's not a tug of war match and the child in the center and the two ropes are being pulled apart. It is a collaborative work. So like we need to understand that expectations, if they are not fair, they would be definitely very upset about their undue expectations.
Yeah. Sister Lubna, do you think parents' own school experiences affect how they engage with teachers today? And if it did, how? How? In what ways do the parents' own school experiences affect how they engage with teachers today, in your opinion and observation?
I think a lot of our parents engage with teachers today is shaped. Often unconsciously, they do not know by their own school experiences. Many parents are not just showing up as adults; they are also showing us as former students who remember fear or shame or feeling judged. So yes, this comes, and I was reading. There was a very a nice research about maths anxiety. You might have heard about it, which said that parents who struggle with maths themselves often pass anxiety onto their children, and not through genetics, obviously, but through reactions. And you know that this is a kind of subject thing, but about the emotional or behavior thing, I noticed that parents who were once shamed or compared in school, they becomes hyper protective, or a small comment from a teacher meant as a feedback, and they feel it as a personal attack. So they may push back strongly. Mostly they push back strongly, or they feel the teacher is judging their child, when actually they're revealing their own old wound. And sometimes it shows up as opposite: avoidance. They simply avoid, they wouldn't talk. The parents who felt ignored or they feel humiliated as students, they may stay quiet, they skip meetings, they would hesitate to reach out, they would not meet teachers. And because deep down they expect, blame or dismissal again. What is important is most of this is not conscious. They're not doing it out of that we have to react this way. They are acting out of the love, and they fear. Actually, they're not hostile to the school. And when teachers understand that some reactions are rooted in their past experience, it opens the door to communication and empathy to both sides. So when parents and educators, they recognize these things, the hidden histories, the conversation shifts, and it does impact their own child schooling.
That really sounds like a lot to do for the teachers. I mean, if you have got, say, 30, 40, and every child is unique, then you have got, a curriculum, you've got a syllabus to complete. And on top of that, troubled children can bring trouble to the class. And it's really, really heavy, I would say. That would be, unimaginable to me if I were to be a teacher, because I've never taught in such a classroom, right? So if someone were to ask you, Sister Lubna, if parents could change one habit that would improve school parents relationship, what would it be? Or, even if it's more than one habit, we'll be happy to hear from you.
Before I answer that question, I would like to extend the previous one, that definitely it's hard for the teacher, 30 students, 35 students, and to have a background history of every parent, what happened to them and what were their school experiences. But I tell you that, the journey becomes easy and simple. School is not a 1 year or 2 year lifespan of a child. It is 10 years, 11 years, even 13 years of a child. So once you build a relationship with the parent, the school and the parent, they build a relationship with each other. And the teacher knows the background of the school. And teaching nowadays, mostly the people end up in not doing anything. Let's start teaching. And actually, teaching is the job of a murabbi. So murabbi cannot do this his work unless he knows the background of the student and all the problems that the student is facing even from their parents. And I would respond to it later. My answer is getting very longer. You asked me about, would you please repeat your question, which actually I was supposed to answer?
No, I was just asking if parents could change one habit that would improve school-parents relationships, what would it be? Yeah.
Stop reacting emotionally to school messages, and especially in front of your child, and start responding thoughtfully to the school as a partner, not as an opponent. Most damage doesn't happen in formal meetings, it happens at home. In small moments, a WhatsApp message comes from school or a note in the diary, parents sign, roll eyes, or says, when they say loudly, again, this has happened. And teachers always exaggerate. And, the child is watching. And, school becomes an enemy. So this emotional response from the parent, this needs immediate change.
I see. So yeah, I guess that's like a double-edged sword, right? We have got so many communications channels, and it's again back to the habit of, I have to say something, and it's very impulsive. It can be very impulsive. A frustrated parent, especially, it's so easy to send a message, and before you can think straight, you just let it go. And like you said, it's not helping to move the matter forward. Thanks for that, Sister Lubna. Brother Idris, what happens emotionally to children when school and home send conflicting messages? Perhaps before that, Brother Idris, maybe you can share with us some examples of what you perceive as conflicting messages between the school and home.
Yeah, for example, where a teacher might inspire in the child to pursue excellence, to do the right things, to work hard, to have a work ethic, and the parents may have a lackadaisical attitude. For them, performance is unimportant. Maybe they're well endowed. They say, don't worry, son, even if you fail, it's okay, you'll join me in the business, that kind of situation. The other conflicting message is this, that a parent may have a condescending attitude towards teaching and the fraternity, as it were. And that condescension would also affect the attitude of this young boy or young girl towards the teacher. And so that's very, very important. And as a result, what this will do, you'll develop now an internal conflict in the child. It will lead to behavioral and academic and psychological problems,
Brother Idris, what caught my attention was the mention of condescending attitude. Can you elaborate more on that?
Yes, you find that I talk about South Africa, and I know other parts of the world, the teaching as a profession is not given its due status. To me, it's the profession of the prophets. It's the most beautiful profession, and I'm so glad that we are part of it. Now, he might be a wealthy business person, he may be a doctor or a lawyer, so his attitude towards the profession is often a negative one. He has forgotten that he is where he is because of the dynamic teachers that he has been exposed to. So when he speaks condescendingly about that, so you find that it must impact on the child and his own relationship and reverence for the teacher.
Yeah, Brother Idris, that reminds me, I did mention during the first webinar where I was also given the opportunity to speak. I really find that there is a shift from how parents view teachers. When I was growing up, my parents had such respect, deep respect for my teachers. And to the extent sometimes, whatever the teachers say, that is like the law. You cannot break the law. Whatever your teacher asks you to do, you have to do it. If your teacher says no, it means no. If your teacher says yes, then it's a yes. But what I observed today is that things have shifted to the extent where parents can complain openly about the teachers, it's not so much about the complaining, but the words that they say sometimes can be, like you mentioned, condescending, right? So yes, I can see where you're coming from. It's very hard for the child because, as Sister Lubna mentioned, the teachers are also the murabbi. The parents are the first murabbi, but now that you send the children to the school, the teachers are the murabbi. And how can the children feel and trust them as murabbi when at the same time they are absorbing the negative messages that the parents are sending, as in, okay, you go to school, you have to do what the teacher, you have to study and whatnot. But as a person, as an individual, as a teacher, teachers are people who our children are supposed to look up to. You know, they are the guides, they are the people who will inspire our children to become adults who are positive minded, who are the Khalifa. But yes, I can see where you're coming from, Brother Idris. So, what are the early warning signs? How can we tell that these children are getting condescending messages about the teachers? Have you ever experienced that in your school?
Yes, you find you find that there is a kind of sense of withdrawal. The grades of the child really cause for concern, and you find that there is no focus in the classroom. You know, the child also begins to get involved with negative behavior, and it can be disruptive in the class. So all of these things, it has a direct impact on the classroom situation, because, you know, on the other extreme, as it were, I know I came across this when some students, when they were caught smoking in the school yard, as it were, and they used to say, you know what, I don't know why the school is going to punish me for this, because my father allows me to smoke. He allows me to do these things. So I think it's very important that people must understand the relevance of schooling, must understand the benefits that can accrue from schooling, and they must not undermine it. And having said that, as I said at the beginning, that we as educators must not have a victim mentality. We can still have a profound positive impact on the child. It depends on your rapport, your relationship, your connection with them, getting to know who they are, where they come from, what are their attitudes. And I found that the teachers can still be, notwithstanding the apathetic home, can still have a profound impact on the child.
Yeah. Sister Lubna, you are a person who live in both worlds, right? You're a parent, you're also a teacher, you're a communicator, you are a community educator. Have you ever experienced this kind of attitude that the brother mentioned, as in a condescending attitude towards your good self as a teacher?
Yes, about that, this attitude, like there are two things which I would like to discuss. And I would like to add one point in Brother Idris' comment, that yes, there are difference in the values. Previously, we had shared values, like smoking. If it was wrong at home, it was wrong at school. So we did not have these conflicting situations. So, but what the child is, the kind of signs with the child which we can see in the child is other than its withdrawal and the silent and the silent struggle. At times, there are physical complaints as well. I'm talking about the very young ones. There's repeated stomach aches, headaches, especially on school days. Okay, so these are the signs which we see that the child see, and we should not ignore them, and we should respond with the curiosity and rather than with pressure. And I think I have missed one point which was in my mind. Could you please repeat?
Actually, this question is for both Brother Idris as well as Sister Lubna. The first question is, how do you know that the child is struggling emotionally, which I think you have addressed partially, right? What happens to children emotionally when school and home send conflicting messages? And when there is a disconnect between the school and the home, what happens to the child's behavior, confidence, as well as values? It's a loaded question. And if you need to, just let me know, and then I'll repeat. By the way, just a short request to our audience, wherever they are. Thank you for joining us. And if you have any questions that you would like to ask to any of our guest speakers today, Sister Lubna from Pakistan and Brother Idris from South Africa, please type them in the chat. Yes, go ahead, Sister Lubna.
Yes, when you said that when the school and the home, they send conflicting messages, you know that a child experiences a lot of confusion. His loyalty is at question all the time. They don't know which version of themselves is right. They become either people pleaser or they become rebellious. In front of parents, they are rebellious because my teacher said so, and in front of teachers, they're rebellious. My parents said so. And rather than becoming into a principled, growing into a principled adult, he does not have a solid background about all this in all this conflicting situation. So conflicting messages from the school and from the parents is definitely a societal dilemma right now, and it has to be dealt again, as Brother Idris said initially, that the collaboration between the two is the key to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. On that note, what Brother Idris and Sister Lubna have mentioned, those are signs or symptoms of misbehaviors, right? But we all know that misbehaviors, there are lots of reasons. So how can we be sure that these misbehaviors, lack of focus, lack of confidence, is because of the conflicting messages? So it's how can we be very sure? Or could it be something else? Could there be conflict at home? Could the child be bullied? Could there be anything? Maybe the child is unwell.
Yes,
Brother
yes, my beloved sister. One of the things as an educator that I used to do is I used to connect with my children. In fact, I used to ask, I should make a dua, say, Ya Allah, show me the unhappy child. And I was very, very concerned about the mental well-being. I was very, very concerned. I used to even visit the homes of these children. I built up a rapport, a love. They could cry on my shoulders, as it were. And if I find that the child is not doing too well, and they say a teacher is not a sage on the stage, but a guide on the side, I would call them privately and have a chat with them. And if I needed to engage with the parents, I would do that for me to identify, the root cause. Sometimes it might require an attitudinal change. Sometimes it requires some kind of motivation. In other times, a child may be going through some kind of emotional problem because of the unhappiness at home. So I think what you're saying is right. You can only suggest a cure if if you're able to understand diagnose the real situation. And I found that to be very, very useful experience.
Right. Thank you for that, brother. How about from Sister Lubna? The same question, right? We know that there could be 1,001 misbehaviors at school. So how do we know that it's because of the conflicting messages or condescending attitude parents towards teachers, or could be because of something else? So what are the steps that can be taken either by the school or by the parent to help both parties ascertain, find out what could be the cause of these issues?
So, well, in which team are you keeping me? As a parent or as a teacher?
I'll let you decide
Okay.
from your experience. And it would be lovely to hear from both ends because you are the person who live in both worlds.
Now the world as a parent, Alhamdulillah, my own children, they are grown up. They have left the schools now. One of them is a father of 4, mashallah, already. And other one is also passed out from university. So, but it's a long time that I stayed as a parent and as a teacher simultaneously. So as a teacher, I would like to answer it first that there could be thousands of reasons, as you said. But the more the empathetic the teacher is, the more the teacher is keeps herself or himself into the shoes of the small child, little child, or maybe even the secondary graders, and the more problems come as they grow up in higher grades. So we have to be, unless we have a very close relationship, the relationship is the key to address all the problems, to identify that what is the reason, what's going on. And this is, they are not only the reasons are the parents or the teachers or now we are living in a world which they have a small gadget in their hand. This is enough to make their behavior totally different. I went to a class and I was taking I was introducing myself and I was taking introduction from all the students. I found a student, he does not keep a constant, eye contact. Whenever I was talking to him, he was not looking into the eyes. Right after the class, I went into the admin office and asked that I need to know about the details of the student, and I want to ask about their parents' screen time. What is his screen time? Because he does not know how to communicate with his eyes to the other person. He cannot answer a single question. So obviously the teachers, the admin, school admin told me about the problems in their home and the child was getting affected. So I had to give more attention to that child. I had to be more softer to him. So as a teacher, the key is the relationship first, and I spend good amount of time in building relationship, because teaching whatever subject you are, it is not difficult at all unless you have a relationship. You can teach them whatever you want to, but first the relationship, the trust they should have on the teacher, that she is there for their well-being. She is frank enough, they can discuss their problems with them. She will not judge them, she will not scold them. So all these things are, as a teacher, I would say that I'll do it in the classroom in order to have all the children, all my students on board.
Yes, thank you for that, sister. I love the way you encapsulate it by spotlighting the relationship side, because I do believe, as a parent myself, it carries so much weight, because practically very little is going to happen. You are going not to, you can't really move or motivate children or anybody for that matter, unless by force, right? If you do not take the time, if you do not invest in building the relationship. And I believe this was what Brother Edris was highlighting just now when he personally went to visit the children. You have to show that you really care about them, despite all the books, all the AI and whatnot. At the end of the day, we are dealing with children who are human beings. We really need to show them that we care, right? Brother Edris, there is a question from Sister Sumaya Haula. Sorry, the first question comes from Sister Shafna. And she would like to know, in South Africa, there are many races and many types of Muslims originally from other countries. So how do you handle that? Are there any problems related to that? Brother Idris.
Yes, you know what? It's not a problem at all, because we as Muslims have the core values of Islam. Our approach is the same, and we show a little more empathy for the kids from other parts of the world who have come in there, because we are, they are our guests and we are the hosts, as it were. And what we try to do in the school situation, create some kind of cohesion and trust and love for each other. And remember, South Africa had a very checkered past, and the apartheid, had really had a profound impact on everyone, where the attitude was the supremacist attitude. The whites were the number one citizens and others. So we don't have a problem. We have adapted beautifully, and kids from diverse backgrounds feel at home because of the Islamic ethos at the school, and we engage with them and we connect with them.
Yeah. Can you, from experience, Brother Idris, in your vast experience dealing with children, have you personally encountered any difficulty dealing with students coming from a different country?
No, I tell you, I lead by example. There are so many things people I can think about. There was, for example, a young boy from Somalia who stowed away in a boat and managed to come to South Africa. And the Muslim organization approached us, and he came during the war. And when he came to the school, he had no idea whether his mother was alive or not. And so he was staying not far from the school. I used to, in the Eid, I should take him home, and I used to bring lunch for that boy every day at school. And children, my own students, saw my own example, and they also embraced him. And today the young boy has got his master's. He's done so well. He could barely speak English, and today he's very, very fluent. So in other words, as teachers, we are dealing with impressionable children. If we adopt the right kind of Islamic attitudes to show compassion and care, if we are not discriminatory or condescending, children would emulate you.
Yes, I totally agree with you, Brother Idris, especially in a foreign land, right? Things are so lonely. You feel like you're an alien. What more can you do? I think that's the most generous thing. And by the way, Sister Lubna, have you had any experience dealing with students who are of a different origin, different race, different nation? And how was it?
Pakistan is a kind of country that here the people seldom comes to earn. Mostly people go from there. There's a constant rain from here. So in our school and in the other schools where I have worked, we have mostly the from other provinces of Pakistan. I'm the city Karachi. So we see school students from other provinces of Pakistan, but this does not become a problem. And as brother was telling about South Africa, this side of the world, Pakistan itself, when it was made, it has a very the history about it. But our generation has gone very far from whatever has happened, the previous generations, whatever they have suffered. So it does not impact it directly. But the idea of patriotism, it's dying here because of economic problems and the infrastructure problems. So we do not face that students coming from other areas here. We are facing the other side of the problem, that the brain drain. Are very good students, they are leaving the country. Just yesterday, when I parked my car outside the school, and I was not very well. So a person came close to me, and I thought that, oh my goodness, he would ask me to remove my car, and I'm not in the mood. And then he stood very nicely, and he said, Assalamu alaikum, miss. I am so and so, and I studied from here, and I'll be joining Pakistan Navy in few days. So definitely I felt very happy, delighted. But this part of that we do not face such students from, mostly the students who go abroad, the parents, they are in Europe or in America. When they come back, we do face problems, because from those areas, the children, they have definitely very different kind of these are affluent societies, so they feel difficult to adjust here, and they have different problems, so they are dealt accordingly. But normally this kind of issues which Brother Idris was talking about, and I was thinking about the Ummah, that in what turbulent conditions we are in, that we are facing such such children, and it's not just a single man or a group of people's job to we can help them. It needs a whole nation to build our children, which we are lacking.
Brother Idris, there is a question here where we have quite a lot of questions actually from Sister Sumaya Haula. What are the roles and responsibilities of parents and school teachers grooming the children?
Grooming the
The
children.
roles and responsibilities. Maybe you could kind of like summarize it in a nutshell, because this is really a loaded
Okay,
question.
fine. Yeah, it is. You see, for example, I see the role of a teacher is to unleash the potential of every child, the cognitive aspect, the spiritual aspect, the affective aspect, so that he has to provide holistic education, is not only skewed towards academic excellence, because academic excellence on its own is not an indicator of real success. It does not mean kids that come out first, second, and third are necessarily going to be happy, holistic human beings. And I see the home to create an environment in which our children can grow, they can thrive. It must be a place in which the parents do not stifle their development. They encourage sound habits like reading, habits of reading the Salah, about showing respect to authority. So both of them have significant roles to play. And you find it, it's very evident at school when children are self-motivated, when they are respectful, when they meet their deadlines, you know that they have learned it from the parents. And I remember one example. One father came to me during the consultation, and he said to me that he was there with his wife. He said, you know what, I cannot thank you enough for what you have done for my child. I looked at him, I teared. I said, no, an apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. It is about you and your wife, the way you relate to each other, your relationship with your child. I have just been here, a person that ensured that the environment that obtains at your place also obtains at school. So we all have to play an active role. And sometimes when parents are not playing their role fully, then you take their place and do it with love. Do it with love. In the end, all of us want the praise of children, want all of our students to look at us fondly.
Thank you for that, brother. I really love that story where, being very modest. I feel that you have been very modest, but rightly so. It's true that at home, parents really need to set an environment, make it, do things, say, talk, or connect with the children in such a way that there is sakina, mawaddah, warahmah at home. And if there is such an environment, the kids are more likely to be settled at school. And imagine what it would be for the teachers, right? So there is an alignment between the home and school. And for you to commend the parents, to me, it strengthens their confidence, inshallah, that they have done something right. Put it this way, there is no such thing as a perfect parent. There is no such thing as a perfect teacher. But most important, we put our efforts, we put our heads together for the sake of this child in order to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Thanks for that, Brother Idris. And next we have a question from Brother Nakib. I have a question on how we could bridge the gaps between routines sets at school versus how we are bringing up our children at home to streamline communication between us and our young ones. Can I ask Sister Lubna to respond to this question?
Streamlining the two different, the two boats going in two different directions. As if, yes, this is today's world dilemma that if I talk about routines, it is very, very difficult for the, like, if you talk about the school side, we would complain that students come sleeping, they're very sleepy, they are hungry, and they have not rested well. So, and when you talk to parents about it, they would tell you that the homeworks are so much that they have to stay up late at night, and in between the whole chunk is been taken away by during the transportation and the entertainment and the screen time. So you know that this routine has to set into the homes. School has a very limited scope, a very limited duration, despite I agree that school has an impact on the child, but actually home is the institution from where this child is coming. So there should not be a debate kind of thing on blaming each other about the routine thing. So we expect parents to do their best for making their child simple thing. I codify it as a dress. Dress is diet, rest, exercise, sleep, and sunshine. You just send your child dressed to school, not in the school uniform, equipped with proper diet, rest, exercise, and sleep and sunshine. And rest I'll do. Rest we will do. So this is I would say that this streamlining is most on as like if as a parent, if I'm not able to send my child to school with the proper diet, what can the teacher do? At times, that in the morning when I see my students, and I teach senior students, and they are coming from junior grades, and the problems starts erupting once they are in grade 6, and then when they come in grade 9, the problems become enormous. They're simply they just want a wall where they can just rest their head and they can sleep. How can I teach them anything else? So I make them take out your lunch boxes right in the first period, have them first so that I can teach you something. So this thing, for this question, I would say that routine sets, it has more area goes to the parent side, and then schools are already giving a structure. We are already over-structured.
Overstructured is the word, Sister Lubna. Trying to fit in everybody who attends school, right? I can't agree with you more on that. I remember when my kids were going to school themselves, I had to say no to some things because I thought it was like, no, they just need time to rest and do nothing and just get bored sometimes, So yes, thanks for pointing that out. The next question comes from Sister Riznia, if I may ask Brother Idris to respond to this question. Brother Idris, have you ever had this situation where you had to encourage parents who never show up to participate at school events and meetings?
live streaming.
Yes, I had the opportunity because we were concerned that parents were not attending those meetings. So what we did was we introduced a merit-demerit system, and we told the students, if both your parents come, you'll score 2 points. If one parent comes, you score 1 point. If no parents come, you get a 0. So they were able to cajole, to coerce the parents to attend. And then what we also did, we had like a staff rep, a parent rep in each class to phone the parents up. And then what we also did, if a parent could not make it, they had to send us a letter. And you know, I had my approach in my office was I had an open door policy with my teachers, my students, and parents. They don't have to make an appointment if they are in dire need of something, you know. And in that way, I built up a relationship with the parent body. The kids spoke to the parents about me with love. The teachers spoke to them, spoke about me with love. And parents who came to school also spoke about me with love, because I was very, very concerned about the dynamics of that relationship. I did not want to alienate anyone. And then I had this habit of sending a 3-page circular every week. And we used to have powerful stories there about the Sahaba, or about the message of the week on Eid, and also telling parents why they should participate. And up to today, alhamdulillah, when I see my students who are mothers and fathers and parents, alhamdulillah, it's such a wonderful experience, you know.
I would call that
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Sister Jamilah, you muted.
Yes, I would call that consequence management. I think one of the issues that I've observed, even in my children's schools, is that there was no consequence for the parents who never showed up in school. So yes, for parents, especially for the teachers, educators who have joined us today, you might consider this strategy. I call it this strategy. There's got to be some kind of consequence when parents fail to show up and expect the teachers to just do everything for them, right? Because there's got to be an open communication channel between the parents and the teachers. And by that, I don't mean the WhatsApp channel. You have to be there to understand and to communicate in an open, honest way, as well as respectful way. What about from you, Sister Lubna? As a teacher, have you ever experienced issues with parents who never showed up?
Yes, it is very, very frequent as the child starts growing, as the trouble starts growing, the parents disappear. Like as when you see a parent-teacher meeting in the school going on, grade 2, 3 till grade 6 teachers, they were, there's a huge waiting list outside their room. But as the students of grade 9, 10, and 11, you would see that the teachers, they don't have queues outside their waiting room at all. Because now the problems which were, germinating and which were not addressed at that time properly, they're showing their results. So the parents at that time, they disappear. So for them, it's, again, I would say that as it's important to build relationship with the teacher, with the student, it's equally important to build the relationship with the parent as well. So just at times, as in the capacity of a teacher, at times I take permission from my school to call the parent on myself and take them into my, just to build some relationship or some rapport. Otherwise, school calls them. But you know that the first thing, again, we go back to remind ourselves that why are like, whose children are they? As a teacher, they're my children. As a parent, they're their children. Who has the responsibility? So, you know, that this idea that 1+1 or marking that you will get 1 mark and 2 mark, it works to a little extent, but actually to inculcate the responsibility and to make others understand that this is your responsibility. I think it's more important, and it's definitely difficult. It's difficult, but it bears better fruit, which I've seen in my all journey. Once, when you know that as a teacher, the effect and as the impact which I can make on a child life, I never knew. Mostly the teachers are accidental teachers, nothing to do, or all right, something we need to do, so let's start teaching. And you know, but when I joined teaching, to be very honest, it was not my dream job or goal job which I was doing, but it turned it like it my own transformation journey. And you know, the parent teacher meetings, they changed me. Once one of the a father came, and he said that my son listens to whatever you say, so please ask him to pray 5 times a day. And you know, that stayed with me. And over the years, you know, during all the parent teacher meetings, this is what I have learned, that unless you have good relationship with the teacher, with the parent, it is certainly impossible to get any better fruits of whatever you're spending your life on.
Yeah, thanks for that, Sister Lubna. Now, the next question comes from Brother Shazrul Isam Isha. I hope teachers can share their ongoing assessments with parents on frequent basis so that parents can learn more about their children's strength and weakness. And based on his experience, teachers only show full assessments during report card day. If I may respond to this question, I really believe that parents do not have to wait until school report card day. What I did as a parent, I would, you know, early in the school term, as early as when they start the school term, if the school term starts in January, let's say in January, I would go to school and meet the teachers personally and, you know, say hello and introduce myself. I'm the parent of such and such. And if there's anything that I need to know about my child, then by all means, you know, this is my phone number. Not necessarily grades or whatnot, but anything that I need to know as a parent. And what I found is that when you start on a good footing like that, the teachers also become very open, right? And they feel safe to approach you if they are concerned about anything. I feel that waiting for the assessment is too late. Actually, a lot has happened. And if it's a small problem, it just becomes bigger and bigger. Either it's a problem of misbehavior or a problem of academic issues and whatnot. So there is no harm. It's not like you go to school to have a big chat or to show you're upset or whatever, but just to start the ball rolling and open communication between you and the teacher, right? The next question is from Abu Qasim. In my kids' current school in Riyadh, mostly the feedback from teachers is just that the kids are good. We do not get any constructive feedback as areas where and how to improve. So what are the typical questions or areas which parents shall ask when meeting teachers to make the feedback more constructive and actionable? Brother Idris, would you like to answer that?
Yeah, I can understand the frustration of the parent. You know, the word good means nothing. You know what? There is a lovely book called Moving from Good to Great. How can the child that is good move from there to be a great child? And parents want specific observations. The observations could be based on a number of things. Could be based on performance, could be based on attitude, you know, motivation. attentiveness, a whole range of things. So I think what happens when teachers are doing assessments for the children, they need to really apply the mind that when they say something, it is authentic and unique to the child. It mustn't be something that is repetitive, that everyone is said the same thing. It's quite clear that this teacher lacks commitment. He is not driven through dedication and diligence. So it's important to make that observation so that parents, when they leave with that, they have a clear idea. So they know where the kid is. They want to know how he could improve. And then you make some broad suggestions. You say, for example, I'm very happy with Muhammad's progress, but I believe he can do better if he does the following 3 things. On my part, this is what I'm going to do. On your part, I'll be very grateful. For example, if you get him on a diet of reading some of these books that I'm going to recommend. And in that way, you find the relationship builds. And another point before I forget, I found that when teachers get along well with the student, I mean, get along very, very well. I'm not saying being overly indulgent, but it's authentic, it is genuine. Such kids would ensure that the parents attend consultations and whatnot, because they love, they venerate, and they respect you also.
Mm-hmm. I believe that's not just for teachers. Even as parents, we need to be specific when we give feedback to the children, because words like good, bad, these are global descriptions, and the kids are just lost. When you say, thanks for being a good child, or a bad child, they don't really know what exactly you are talking about. Yes, I do believe that, like you mentioned, Brother Idris, you have got to be as specific as possible and give a balanced feedback. Let's say you have got 100 things that you want your child to do better. It doesn't matter if the child is your own child or a student, right? So on priorities. Focus on the priorities. What exactly do you want them to change first? That's the first thing. But before that, catch them doing right. Because if you focus on what they're doing wrong, can I ask, there's some background noise? Okay. If we parents and educators focus on what's wrong, there is great possibility that the kids will keep on doing what is wrong, right? So this is reverse psychology for kids. Catch them doing something right, and in a motivating way, tell them how they could do even better, right? So there is a comment here. Being parents, yes, there's another question. And if Sister Lubna, if you don't mind, I would like to answer the question. Being parents, if our kids who are in grades 4 and 6 are not doing as parents request them, then how can we approach this issue? Not listening.
Well, there's a very clear guideline for us. Like from 0 to 7 years, love them. Unconditional love brings unconditional obedience. They do not ask that why should I do that, and why should, like from 0 to 3 years, the child is already in the need of a parent, and from 3 to 7 years, the dependence decreases. Dependence decreases, and from 7 to 10, we have a very clear instructions that after loving, now guide them and listen to them, start making relationship with them, because soon once they touch puberty, then be their rafiq, be their friend, be them as an equal as your friend, just like the way you speak to your friend. So if you have to make your child your friend, so at the age grade 4 and 6, they're hardly 10 years, 12 years children. They're now nearly, they will be going into puberty. I think that the most important factor for at this time is respecting them, keeping not judging them when they not comparing them. These are the few things. which we have to stop very consciously. I remember that when our son was only 2 years old, my husband said that we will not compare our son with anyone else, and agreed to it. All right, okay, yes, you are right, we should not compare our child. And when he started growing, I found myself that I am comparing that this boy is doing this thing and he is doing that thing which my son is not doing. So this is something which is contagious. So you have to work very consciously on it, that all right, I will not compare, I will not judge, I will not not, at this is the time, 10 years, 12 years, that I will not doubt their intentions, I will not have preconceived notions, that he is saying this, it means that. So these small things, it removes the friction. When it removes the friction, then they automatically start obeying the parents. Whatever you are asking, you will find them that they will do it according to your wish and demands.
Right.
Inherently, Allah has made man as to obey someone. This is something which is instinctively present in us. And this rebellion, it comes when this instinct is not properly catered.
Yeah, there is a saying, you must focus on connection before correction. And I think connection versus correction is one of the glaring things, especially at home when the parents are very, very busy, right? And they expect the kids to behave, okay, do this, don't do that, where there is no real effort from the parents to make the children feel that, I love you, not necessarily by saying, but just giving full attention to the child. And this is one of the prevailing issues of this generation of children, I believe, which has resulted in even misbehaviors, right? So this is a good reminder for all of us. Connection before correction. Before you correct the child, ask yourself if you are making yourself present for the child, especially when you know that you have to be there, not just physically. Being present doesn't mean just physical presence, but emotionally, so that the child feels your presence, right? Thanks for that, Sister Lubna. I have the next question from Brother Abdul Hakim. This is about being abroad, a working father. Needs advice for my wife to handle the kids, adolescents. The kids are adolescents, ages 14 and 15. They are undergoing changes. And can you advise him, Brother Idris? Have you ever experienced among your students, well, basically not a single mother, but basically the father is absent and the mother has to raise the children in the father's absence, long absences, I would say. I would assume.
Yes, you see, one of the things that psychologists... Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah. One of the things that psychologists have said, that the teenage years are the ages of madness, where kids go to turbulence, they're seeking identity and everything else, where the father and mother are emperor and empress without clothes. They're a source of embarrassment. Their friends are everything, right? So I think what's important is this, it's a phase that children go through. Now, it's important, more so in this case, where there is an absent father because of circumstances out of his control, that he needs to validate the mother. He has to affirm her, and he is to also, have a relationship with the children that is one that is respectful, and to say, you know what, if he's got a son, he says, I'm not at home, you are like the father now. Make sure you are there for mommy, make sure you do this, make sure you do that. Now, what is important is this, as psychologists have said, revealing is healing. So it's important to also hear that from the perspective of that young boy or young girl. Let them speak what's in their heart. And in that way, it's quite cathartic for them when they speak about things, and to look at, when he does come home, to look at some kind of joint plan, understanding of what the parameters are. And remember, it's a phase the children are going to go through. It's not something that is never going to end. The other important aspect is to equip the mother with some skills, enhance her parenting skills, and to make sure there is an adult male figure within the family can play a role in his absence. And that way, you'll be able to have a profound impact on the child.
Thank you for that, brother. I feel that what you're talking about, Brother Idris, is more like a strategy, because ideally we need both parents at home, but the reality of life is such that in some households, either the mother or the father do need to work hundreds of miles away from home, right? So it can't just happen just like that without proper discussion, proper strategy between both parents to make things work. And yes, I do understand from my understanding, it's very true that adolescents undergo lots of changes, and this is something that we have to be prepared for as parents as well as teachers, right? Thanks for that, Brother Idris. Now, we are coming towards the end of our session here. A remark from Brother Hassan: the most important issue here is trust between the parents and teachers. Yes, very true. When there is trust, the rapport and respect comes naturally, and the child benefits both ways. I feel that as parents, we need to really acknowledge that teachers are not perfect, just as much as teachers acknowledge that parents are not perfect. And we are prepared to accept and love each other and respect each other because of that. Brothers and sisters, I would like to ask that all of you there who have joined us to respond to the post survey so that we know how this experience has been for you. Right? And I would now hand over. Oh, okay. Last word. Yeah. Is there a last word from both of you? First, from Sister Lubna. Do you have any last remarks?
I think that whatever we have discussed about, whatever the discussion is, whatever the comments which came around, we have spoken about trust, we have spoken about relationship, we have spoken about that no blame game, because for this issue of parenting or teaching and school, the point is that when elephants fights, it is the grass that suffers. So the children, they lose their emotional security, they lose that the adults, they can live like they can solve any conflict. They lose this trust that actually what is the conflict between the school and the parent, who is actually taking all the loss, that is the child. So my advice from all the discussion is that all this needs time, all this needs energy, all this needs understanding. So what I did as a parent, I was when my own kids, they were very small and they were all born between my all the journey, I used to ask those parents whose children were they were outshine in terms of behavior in the school. I used to ask them, what do you do with them? So learn about it. When you see someone like this, learn about it. Equip yourself, as we are advised that our times are different from the times which our children are facing. So we are preparing them for some other, more turbulent time. So we need to equip them more. So this is very important, heavy responsibility. At times I feel that and that you will never get a kind of satisfaction out of it. Once you are a parent for the rest of your life. And I feel that now once you are a teacher, you have taught people, you are a teacher for the rest of your life. So as you know, this is the whole concept behind our discussion, that actually care for the child. The basic point is caring for the child. When this is the focal point, all the differences, all the blame games, all the mistrust issues, they will just vanish away. They will go away. Jazakallah khair.
Wa anti fajazakillahu khairan, sister. And Brother Idris, can we hear from you? Your
Yes,
closing
my
remarks.
final comment is this, that it's an amana. You know, Allah has given us the amana, these children, both from the parents' perspective and the teacher's perspective. And we must not begin to blame each other. The child is an innocent child, born with fitra, and we must be the best for the child, inspire him to love the deen of Islam, to be an eloquent ambassador for the deen, and he must be an agent of change. Even through his conduct, he can transform his own home. And the teacher must look at him with eyes of innocence, because Islam is a beautiful deen. We need to present it to our beautiful, innocent children in a beautiful way for a world that is going ugly. Even if parents and teachers do not cooperate, we must never give up. They must never give up. For a teacher, he does not walk the extra proverbial mile. That extra walk that he's doing is part of what he needs to do. For that father, he mustn't think that I stay awake at night for my child. What you are doing is something expected of you. So my prayer is that we confront our true selves. We understand either the positive things we're doing for our children or the damage. Inshallah, we should reconcile. And in that way, we'll become like a happy married couple, loving each other. And we'll say at the end, Alhamdulillah, I like it.
Thank you, brother. Jazakallahu khairan. It's never easy at both ends. I would say both parents and teachers, we all have our challenges, big and small. But at the end of the day, inshallah, we do what we do because we are all on the path of trying our best, striving to please Allah. Now, I would like to ask my better half, Brother Ahmad Fakhri, if I may, who is also the coordinator for Global Islamic Parenting Network, GIPNet, to share the outcomes of what you want. Oh yes, we would like to share the details of our next webinar. Before we share the outcomes of our post survey, what you have to say about our program today, I would like to share the details of our next session, which is on intellectual belief, raising thinkers, not just followers. Our next guest speaker will be Sister Uzma Ahmad. She's really, really an amazing teacher, I would say. And to moderate this session, we have none other than Dr. Sabaria Farida Jamaluddin, also an amazing, amazing teacher, educator, a very passionate teacher. We are going to have it on the 14th February 2026. As always, it's at 1 p.m., starts at 1 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. Makkah time. The reason why we set it to Makkah time so that it's easy basis, easy reference for everybody. Now, can we have Brother Ahmad Fakhri, the coordinator of GIPNet, to show?
Can you see? Huh?
Yes, we can see the results. Yeah, can you comment? Can brother with that, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, let us remember that when school and home don't talk well, children are forced to navigate two worlds that should have been aligned. And children learn confusion before clarity, fear before confidence, and silence instead of trust. I would like to congratulate and thank both of our guest speakers today, Sister Lubna and Brother Edris Khamissa, for your kindness and generosity for joining us today. And again, it's a good reminder for us all. Children do not need perfect teachers. They don't need perfect parents. We are never going to be perfect. But what our children need are aligned adults who are willing to reflect, adjust, and rebuild relationships even when it feels uncomfortable. And sometimes blame may feel justified, but it never builds futures, and partnership does. And this is the reason GIPNet exists, because we want to bridge the gap between the school and the home. Your child, our children, perform best when the adults around them, the parents, the teachers, we are all on the same page. And it only begins with better understanding, shared intention, and the courage to change. Jazakumullah khairan kathiran for our guest speakers and all parents and educators have joined us today. And to close, let's recite this dua together. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Subhanakallahumma bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Jazakumullahu khairan.